right, everybody, we're about to get started. We're here with Dr. Steve Turpin. He is a guru in contact lenses, so he's got a lot of good information for you guys today. Where would you start if you were a practice that really wants to get into this? You know, is it buying a fit set? Is it loaning one for a while? Is it, how do you go about doing that?
I think there are a lot, like I said, as long as you talk to the manufacturers and kind of tell them, what your goals are, there's plenty of them out there that will say, well, we'll give it to you. We just want you to get started and get comfortable. There's certainly some that you can buy, but I would recommend you just talking to a bunch and figuring out who you can, get one from to at least try out. Or another good thing is fitting people that might not need it in your office. So your staff or a family member of the staff, just so you get a little bit of practice and it gets the staff excited about fitting lenses, right? Because you need buy-in from everyone. If you're trying to do this and everyone else isn't convinced, then it's not going to go very well. So you have to have buy-in from everyone in your practice before you really start to get gung-ho about it.
How do you have that cost discussion? Because there is a significant cost with some, not all, but
Right.
with some. So how do you kind of broach that with the patient, and especially since you don't know, how many times they're going to have to come back or
Sure.
when they might be actually happy with the product?
And the nice thing is when, with keratoconus and stuff like that, this stuff is becoming, medically necessary and being covered by insurance. So I would say, the majority of the time, I don't have to have that conversation, which is super nice. As long as you let the patient know that it's an experience that is a little bit more in depth and a lot takes a lot more time than a normal fit, they're generally happy because they've already been to 3 or 4 other people who they've paid and haven't gotten any results. So at this point, with a lot of the specialty lenses that we do, they're just like want something. They haven't been able to find anything. So.
Do you tend to rely more on the testing, like your topographies and things like that, or do you rely more on maybe that's a starting place and then once you get the lens on, going from your fit set or just looking at that fit and adjusting accordingly?
Yeah, the kind of testing is getting a lot better. With sclerals, it's a little hard from the topography because you're not actually interacting with any of that surface, but it tells you, what the topography tells you is, are you going to be able to have any success with kind of a corneal fitted lens, right? So you do a topography, and the thing that we look at is the elevation difference. So if the elevation of the cornea in one spot is like 350 microns different than the elevation in another spot, don't even worry about throwing like a corneal lens on there or anything like that. You got to go to the scleral because it's just not going to stay where you want it to stay. So that, for me, is kind of the biggest thing. And then I go to diagnostic fitting, but there are so many cool resources out there. They have scleral mapping, scleral shape things out there right now that, man, if you get good at doing that, you can nail it every time.
Great. So to kind of wrap up, practice management, of course, is a big topic for any practice, and how to pay for it, how to know they're going to be successful, how to build the practice. As far as fitting fees and things of that nature, how does that compare to just your standard or even maybe a hard lens fit?
Sure. So as far as the fitting fees go, sometimes it's a little bit hard, especially with insurance and the billing. So, you're billing a 92310 for, a regular fit. You can only use a modifier so much for that. Where you really get it is kind of that material side. And luckily, you're not going to be having a lot of, 1-800 Contacts isn't selling sclerals online. So you pretty much have a 100% capture rate on the material. So you just need to figure out, based on that, what is a good kind of thing to, price to set for those. And there's a bunch of resources out there that tell you, if you're spending this much time with a patient and you usually, see this many patients and this is what you're charging for regular exam, this is what you should be charging for your specialty lens fitting. And I think that is a great way to start. And then obviously as you get more experienced, you can kind of modify your fees based on what you think is appropriate.
Any tips for marketing yourself or your practice if you're going to get into this space?
Just meet everyone who can make referrals to you. Just go out, especially with this myopia control stuff that's kind of going crazy with the Ortho K and multifocals. Just getting together even a couple different docs from around the area and doing outreach with schools. You're just educating them on what they need to do, and then getting to know kind of anybody who's going to refer to you, the corneal specialists, other ODs, everything like that.
I think other ODs is a big untapped market.
Totally.
Because there's a lot of us out there that have zero desire to touch
Totally.
that. And if they can work closely with a colleague and know that they're going to get their patient back and they're just coming to you for that,
Sure.
they're more than happy to do that.
Yeah, if you come up with kind of a sheet that even if you were just to mail it to them and say, this is who I am, this is what I will do for the patient, and this is what I will do for you, and this is kind of the relationship that I plan to have. I would love for us to work together. I think that goes a long, long way, and people just don't really do it.
Are there any other tips or words of advice you want to share with everybody?
Not too much. Like I said, it's just the cool thing about the specialty lenses is just you get these all kinds of different aspects of optometry all kind of blended into one, and you get to make that difference. You get to be involved in the industry, and you get to see patients and build awesome relationships with it. So it's kind of just all of those things that really make it special for me.
Great. Well, we have a question from the audience.
Sure.
Somebody wants to know if you've ever failed at a fit.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. So there's patients where you try I'm the kind of person who always starts simple. So I try to get the simplest lens on their eye, and if we make that work, then we go with that. If not, then we kind of go through our cycle. But there are plenty of times where we haven't gotten any, made the difference that the patient kind of wanted for a number of different reasons. And you just have to have that conversation where we say, we've tried X, Y, and Z, and you're not getting the kind of vision or the experience that you want. I don't think this is something that we should continue, because it is, especially with sclerals, it's a pretty high burden of care. You literally, my patients come in carrying a baggie of all the things that they need to put their scleral lenses in and do that. So it's not an easy thing to do, and not an easy lifestyle change to make sometimes. So you just have to have that conversation with them.